Hello, everybody, and welcome to Teaching Tuesday. So, I'm going to just make sure we're going live. Facebook is cooperating today, and yes, we are. Okay, welcome, welcome. My name is Kim Lakoski. I am the host in this group. I am a health and mindset coach, certified NLP and EFT practitioner, and the creator of the Aligned Body Mind Method, a 4-month VIP coaching experience for women who are ready to take back their power from food. So, welcome. If we have not interacted in this group, please say hello in the comments. I love to know who's joining. Go ahead right now. Hi, Kim. Go ahead and type it in. And if you're watching the replay, put replay down there as well so I know who catches these. I do these weekly. I call them Teaching Tuesdays. I do these weekly lives for you because I want to help you hit your goals without counting calories, without hating your body, without feeling guilt over eating a cookie or some graham crackers or having a cocktail at night, right? So we are made for more than just struggling with food, and that is not the point of my live today. But I'm just going to say this because I want you to know that this struggle with food that I see that I lived with for so long, decades of my life, since 8th grade. And look, 8th grade was a long time ago for me. Um, but I lived with it for so long, and I see so many women. I'm surrounded by women who, right, we struggle with food. And there are some that don't, right? Absolutely. Like we all have that friend who seems to eat what she wants and can have a couple pieces of birthday cake and just leaves it like, oh, yeah, no, I don't really want any more, right? Like, how does she do that? But for most women with the struggle with food, like, how do we get beyond that? Because if we could actually feel good in our bodies and stop fighting ourselves and fighting food with this like internal tug of war is how I talk about it a lot, then we could move on with our lives. Because for me, I felt like my life was just kind of passing me by while I was waiting to see a number on the scale. So now I'm getting into my whole story, which I'm going to do that a different day. But I'm here because I am passionately convinced and I fully believe that as women, we are made for more than this struggle with food. That is why I do what I do. So, if that is you, then I am glad that you are here. Let's go ahead and dive in today. We're talking about nutrition because if you are a woman who does struggle with food, then nutrition is part of it. Mindset shifts is a part of it as well. But we're talking about food nutrition today because I want to share with you my top 3 ways to prime your hormones for all day energy and to stop the cravings and snack attacks that are hitting you every day because it happens. It happens. And if you're not eating and fueling your body in a way that sets you up for success, you're just fighting yourself. So we're going to be talking about the foundational hormones that you need to be stabilizing in order to minimize the cravings and those late day snack attacks, okay, that send you rummaging around for cookies and cake and chips and whatever you can find left over in the fridge. Doesn't really matter what it is, right? And that means that by the end of this, in the next 15 minutes or so, or however long this goes for, you're going to know how to build your energy for long lasting results without relying on sugar and caffeine, right? So for those of us, well, I say us, I don't really do this, but for those of you who are drinking coffee all day long, to either like stave off those hunger signals because you're trying to like stay low calorie and eat light, so you're drinking coffee, and all that's doing is spiking up your adrenals and your stress response in your body, which spikes up cortisol, which means you're holding on to fat anyways, or you're using it to keep your energy up, but again, all it's doing is damaging your body. So instead of looking to sugar and caffeine, let's use whole foods in the way that they're meant to be used. Okay? So, here we go. If this is something that you struggle with, I want to know. Go ahead and, put it in the comment. If you are a caffeine drinker, if you're reaching for sugar and like those baked goods or those refined carbohydrates for energy all day long, and you struggle with energy slumps in the middle of the day, kind of mid-morning, mid to late afternoon, tell me. Let me know. What is your energy struggle during the day? I'll be keeping an eye out for comments as I go through this so I can address them. But even if you watch on the replay, comment and I'll be circling back. Okay. So first one, top strategy. Okay. We're going to talk about breakfast. So I have a question. Have you ever like eaten a bowl of cereal or granola or something for breakfast, right? And then you walk the bowl over to the sink and you rinse it out. And as you put it in the dishwasher, you're already feeling like, I feel like I could eat a little something more. It's like been 3 minutes since you finished eating, and you're already like, oh, I kind of want some more to eat. Or you have a bowl of oatmeal. Okay. I'm a fan of oatmeal at times, but you eat a bowl of oatmeal. Okay. And then you're on your way to work 30 minutes later and you're already feeling hungry. You're like, "What is wrong? I just had a meal." Right? A big bowl of ice cream, my goodness. Oatmeal. You know where my mind is. Oatmeal or a bowl of cereal or granola and you're already hungry. Like 30 minutes and you're starving again. Well, why is that? Okay? They say breakfast is the most important meal of the day, but it's not probably not for the reasons that you think. Okay? And here's why. I'm going to explain a little bit of the science behind this because I want you to understand. Because the more we understand about how our bodies work, the better we are at making choices, okay, and knowing what works for our body. So when we go all night long, okay, and we're sleeping all night long, our insulin levels drop down, right? Because there's no food coming into our body, okay. So we wake up in the morning, our insulin is at the lowest point in our 24-hour day night cycle. Okay. Then we have our first meal of the day that is a carb heavy meal because typically in our society and culture, breakfast tends to be like it's sold to us as being a carb heavy meal cereal, um, oatmeal, granola, donuts, toast, bagels, danishes, right? Okay. Carb heavy. So, carbs out of the three macronutrients, protein, fat, and carbohydrates, will spike our insulins more than the others, more than protein or fat. Okay. So we're going from an all time low in our 24-hour cycle of insulin. And then also we spike it really high. Okay. We create this major spike, which means an insulin is a fat storing hormone. What that means is that that fuel we just put into our body with the cereal or oatmeal, insulin is going to rush in and it's going to store all of that away as fast as possible and it stores it as fat. It stores it into our organs and our muscles to as much as they can hold, but then anything left over gets stored as fat. So it stores it as quickly as possible. It gets digested and stored fast. And then all of a sudden we don't have any energy in our body. We don't have any fuel. Okay, so we go looking for something else to eat an hour after we've just finished breakfast. Okay, so what do we do about that? Make breakfast protein focused, okay, with less carbohydrates. I'm not saying no carbohydrates, I'm saying less, okay, but less might, it's kind of relative because you got to look at what you're eating for breakfast. What's an improvement for you that you can be making, okay? But make your breakfast protein focused so that you're not spiking those insulin levels, causing an energy crash, and then looking for something midway through the morning. Okay, so that's one. So in the comments, tell me, what kinds of foods do you like for breakfast? Okay, and breakfast doesn't need to be breakfast foods. Leftovers from the dinner the night before make a great breakfast. Okay, roasted vegetables with a couple eggs or some chicken or turkey or whatever it might be, and with a little vinaigrette on it or whatever seasoning you want to use, right? Use leftovers from the night before. Okay, second is to include, are you taking notes? Include protein, healthy fats, and fiber in each meal. So now I'm talking more like lunch, dinner. You can absolutely do that at breakfast. I feel like breakfast tends to, we want to keep that kind of simple because we're like in a rush and we got lots of things. Kids are getting off to school and we're trying to get off to work and So keep breakfast really simple. Lunch and dinner, protein, healthy fat, and fiber. Because just with like breakfast, for our energy, we want our meals to sustain us for long periods of time, more than just an hour or two. Okay. The fat, protein, and fiber, it slows down the digestion in our body. Okay. Without creating a significant rise in insulin. So that means that we're going to have that constant energy, sustainable energy, without getting all the extra stored because we don't have much insulin in our system or as much. It's not going to get stored away as fat. Okay. Now, that doesn't mean to not eat carbohydrates. I'm going to get to that in a second. Okay. But it does mean make the foundation of your meals protein, healthy fat, and fiber. Got it? Okay. And then number three, ready? Number three, we're going to talk about carbs. Focus on whole food carbs. Okay. Now, this is something I hear from women. It kind of makes me chuckle every time I hear it. Something like, and maybe this is something you've said before, oh, I didn't eat any carbs. I had an apple with my lunch. Well, I hate to break it to you, but an apple is a carbohydrate. Okay. A lot of people, and thanks to the diet industry and the weight loss industry, we think a lot of people in our society think of carbs as cakes, brownies, pretzels, donuts, bagels, bread, right? Because the diet industry has really demonized carbohydrates. Okay. And yes, they all are carbs, but so are sweet potatoes, broccoli, rice, oranges, apples. Okay. They are all carbohydrates as well because the definition of a carbohydrate is they break food that breaks down to glucose in our system. Okay. Here's the difference though. The difference between a whole food carbohydrate, a sweet potato, right, or rice, you look on the packaging of a bag of rice, the ingredient is one word, rice. That's it. It's a whole food carbohydrate. The difference between those and more refined processed carbohydrates is that whole food carbs have a lot more water and fiber in them, and it helps that slow down that digestion process. So they won't have an impact on our hormones the way that a handful of crackers, pretzels, or a muffin from Starbucks will. Okay. So absolutely include carbohydrates in your daily eating plan. Definitely move over to those whole food carbohydrates as much as possible. Okay. So those are my three tips. So protein focused breakfast, include protein, healthy fat, and fiber in your lunches and dinners. Move towards whole food carbohydrates. Okay. Now, as you're listening, I'm going to guess that you fall into one of two categories, one of two groups. Okay. So first one is maybe this is new information to you. You've just learned something that you didn't know before, or maybe you've heard a lot of what I've just shared before, but it's you're not implementing it, right? You're not actually acting on it. Okay. Maybe it all feels overwhelming. It's too much information. You don't know how to get started. There's too much stress in your life, too much on your plate, and you've tried so many times before that you're afraid of failing again. Like, why even try? I mean, there's a part of you deep down, it's like, I am not giving up because I know that I am made for more than a struggle with food and I want to feel good in my body. There's a other bigger part of you that's like, I've tried so many times and failed. I can't stand the thought of trying again. Okay. So if that's you, okay, you're not implementing, you're not putting these pieces of guidance that I just gave you into action. Okay, and you're serious about prioritizing your health and your relationship with food, then here's my recommendation. My recommendation is to find someone who can help you with your specific situation. A cookie cutter program or an accountability app is not going to do it. Okay, uh, cookie cutter programs, apps, they can't help you when life gets rough. They can't hold your hand and walk you through times when you would normally throw in the towel. Okay. You find an expert to work with, whether it's a coach, a nutritionist, someone who understands the nuances of behavior change, not just is going to give you, like, not a nutritionist that's just going to give you a meal plan, okay? Or a coach that's going to do this, this, and this, and, I'll see you in a couple months. Someone who knows your story, who knows your individual lifestyle situations, who knows what your specific struggles are, because then they can get really specific with you to really dial in what it is that you need and want. Okay, now that's group number one. Here's group number two. Maybe you not only know all of what I just shared about nutrition, okay, but you're already doing it. You are implementing, okay, and you still find it impossible to stay out of the pantry or the office candy bowl. Okay, you feel like you're eating clean. You're eating a salad every day, you're drinking your green smoothies, right? You're reading all kinds of blogs to figure out what you're doing wrong and why you can't get to where you want to be, okay? And when you get really honest with yourself, when you really look at what's going on at your eating habits during the day, the role the food is playing in your life, you're mindlessly grazing during the day. You're snacking a lot, right? You're eating past full. You're finding comfort in your ritual of wine, chips, and Netflix on the couch every evening, right? You can learn all the strategies you want. You can eat clean at your meals, okay? Learn all about the nutrition all you want. But if this is you and you're still struggling with food, then you probably have some mindset barriers, some emotional and mental barriers that are still keeping you tied to food. That food is still it's keeping you tied to the emotional component of food. Okay. And you will continue to be in that struggle until you break those ties. Okay. And that means working with a coach or an expert, okay, who understands the deeper levels, not just the nutrition, but the deeper levels of the mindset, okay, of the emotional components of food, those mental barriers, the subconscious patterning, okay, because our subconscious plays a major role in how we relate to food in our day. That's what you need to focus on. That's what you need to get help with so that you can stop being controlled by food so you can take your power back. Okay, so I want to know, do you think you are in group one or group two? Or if you think you're in a different group, if you think there's a third group that I've missed, I want to know. Tell me. Put it in the comments and let me know. Okay, so I'll circle back. I'm going to see who is watching. In the meantime, I hope you have an amazing day. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you again soon. Take care.